The man who once wrote in a journal every day with Barbra Streisand, the same man who proposed 3 times before she finally said yes, is now facing the hardest chapter of his life. James Brolin, the devoted husband by the side of a Hollywood legend for over 25 years, has just made a decision that stunned the entire film industry, turning down a $2 million role just to stay home. After their unforgettable 25th anniversary celebration, rising medical bills forced Hollywood's golden couple to do something they hadn't done in decades: merge their bank accounts. And now, with James telling producers he can't commit, right now fans are beginning to worry. Could this be the sign of a major turning point? Join us as we explore this emotional new chapter in the life of James Brolin, one that may be his most heartbreaking yet. Comment 1 if you feel for James Brolin, or 0 if you have a different take. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you won't miss what happens next, because we're about to reveal everything. James Brolin, born Craig Kenneth Bruderlin on July 18, 1940, came into the world during a scorching heat wave in Los Angeles, with temperatures soaring to 103 degrees, about 39 degrees C. His father, Henry, a successful contractor, struggled to make it to the hospital in time and arrived just 12 minutes before Craig was born. Henry, who ran the household with military precision, enforced strict rules for all family members. From the age of 4, Craig was required to participate in daily chores and received weekly evaluations on his behavior. These early experiences would shape his lifelong discipline and strong work ethic. His father's strictness extended beyond labor and deeply influenced the way he raised his children. The household operated under high expectations and tight regulations, forcing Craig to mature quickly. His childhood left little room for carefree play. Instead, he faced constant responsibilities and the invisible pressure of living up to his father's standards. He learned not only how to contribute to the household, but also the importance of following rules in an environment where control and consistency were paramount. Craig's mother, Helen, had once appeared as a background actress in a film, though she never shared this with her son, fearing it might distract him from his studies. Craig was raised in a household where education was held above all else, a core value strongly emphasized by both parents. Despite this academic focus, Craig was a quiet and shy child, shaped in part by his fragile health. He suffered from severe asthma, which greatly limited his early years. At just 7 years old, he spent a grueling 45 days in the hospital, a painful and difficult chapter of his childhood. At the age of 9, Craig amazed his teachers and family by taking apart and reassembling his father's watch, demonstrating exceptional mechanical talent. This led his teachers to recognize his special abilities in this field, but perhaps what surprised everyone the most was Craig's early obsession with James Dean, the legendary star. Although no one could have predicted that this intense passion for James Dean would become a significant part of Craig's life, he found deep empathy and strong inspiration in Dean, something that shaped not only his interests, but also the career path he would later pursue. When Craig was 15, one film completely changed his life: East of Eden, starring James Dean. This film was not just a piece of cinema, but a profound source of inspiration that marked a turning point in his life. From that moment on, every Saturday for 6 months, Craig secretly rode his bike 17 miles alone to Griffith Park. There, he would imitate every gesture, walk, voice, and glance of James Dean, whom he deeply admired. Those weekend mornings transformed Griffith Park into a vivid space where Craig indulged his passion and imagined himself becoming part of the world that James Dean had created on screen. In his room, Craig hid 73 clippings about James Dean behind a large poster, each clipping representing a memory, a picture of the hero he secretly admired. He saved over $200 from his newspaper delivery job to buy an 8mm camera and began filming reenactments of scenes from East of Eden, but without sound. He invited the neighborhood kids to join, and together they created small silent films recreating the legendary scenes that Craig had witnessed and learned from James Dean. These shots were not just child's play, but a relentless passion, the beginning of the challenging artistic journey Craig would later embark on. When James Dean died in a car accident in 1955, Craig was shocked and remained silent for 11 days, not speaking to anyone about his pain. The death of his idol made him feel as though the world had suddenly lost a very important part, and it deeply affected his spirit. However, an important event occurred, opening a new path for Craig. One of the short films he had made was discovered by his drama teacher, who sent it to UCLA without informing Craig beforehand. Surprisingly, the film won an honorary award from Nicholas Ray, the director who worked with James Dean on the legendary film Rebel Without a Cause. This moment became a turning point, giving wings to Craig's acting dreams and encouraging him to continue pursuing a path he had previously only dared to dream about. However, the journey to becoming an actor was not easy for Craig. Despite his passion and burning desire for the profession, he constantly faced extreme shyness. Every time he had to audition, the anxiety and fear made him feel like he was going to vomit, and this became a major barrier in his early steps. Nevertheless, the dream of acting still burned brightly in Craig's heart, and these difficulties only strengthened his resolve to overcome himself. In 1960, when Craig began to attract attention from film studios, he was asked to change his name. The studios believed that the name Brolin sounded too German and would not make a strong impression on audiences. They also presented statistics showing that shorter, easier-to-pronounce names were more recognizable. However, Craig was reluctant to change his name. He attended 7 meetings to protest this decision, firmly defending the name he had carried throughout his life. Despite his objections, the final decision was made by the studio, and they required him to change his name to James, believing it was easier to pronounce and remember. They also knew that Craig was obsessed with James Dean, and they thought the name would create an easy connection to Dean's image, someone Craig had always admired. The name change was just one of many challenges Craig faced as he entered the entertainment industry. His relationship with his family also became more strained. His father didn't speak to him for over a year because of the decision. Instead of supporting her son, his mother sent a new portrait of him to their relatives to explain the change. Despite facing numerous hardships, including 214 sleepless nights, James remained persistent in his chosen career, though he constantly felt worn out by the pressure. After all this, the studio eventually informed him that he looked too much like James Dean, a coincidence they themselves had requested. However, small roles in television shows like his appearance on Batman gave James Brolin the opportunity to gain some attention. In one of these roles, he played a bank clerk, and the director was impressed by how he dropped a bag of money, creating a memorable moment that helped him gain more screen time. A few months later, another director cast James Brolin in the role of Eraser, without knowing that he had previously appeared on the show. This happened after he had broken 3 ribs while doing his own stunts. Adam West later chose him for a 3rd role. However, no one on set realized that he had been cast twice before. At that time, James Brolin was homeless, living in his 1958 Chevy and using the communal bathrooms at Fox Studios. In 1967, everything began to fall apart for James Brolin when he landed the lead role in the film The Cape Town Affair. Before filming began, Brolin realized there were serious issues with the script and cultural inconsistencies in the film, so he sent a memo to the producers warning them about the potential failure of the movie. However, his warnings went ignored, and the film's release was doomed to failure. Not only did the film fail to attract an audience, but it also faced severe criticism from critics. Despite his prior concerns, the failure of the Cape Town Affair was still a huge shock for James Brolin. However, what made it even worse was when he was visiting his mother in the hospital and received the news that he was being fired from the film. This added to his disappointment as his career seemed to be at a bleak crossroads. As if that wasn't enough, Brolin was also asked by Fox to repay the salary he had received for the Cape Town Affair, which amounted to $11,400. This was a major blow for Brolin, making him feel pushed to the edge in his career. After this event, things got even worse as he struggled to find work for the next 18 months. The criticism surrounding the film's failure made it nearly impossible for him to continue his career in the film industry, and all he had left was a period of deep frustration. James Brolin, who had once been a rising star in Hollywood, now faced sadness and loss as he couldn't secure a new opportunity in the industry. During this tough period when James Brolin's film career had nearly collapsed, he had to find a way to make a living by working as a mechanic in Van Nuys. His job involved fixing cars for people who had no knowledge of automobiles, a task that had nothing to do with the entertainment industry he once dreamed of. However, his life began to change when an executive from Universal, a customer who came in to have his car repaired, accidentally met him. The executive was impressed by Brolin's work ethic and serious attitude. Seeing potential in him, the executive offered him the chance to audition for a role to see if he could make a comeback on screen. That audition opened up a huge opportunity in Brolin's career. He was cast as Dr. Stephen Kiley in the TV show Marcus Welby, MD, a popular medical drama. The show began airing in 1969 and ran until 1976, becoming one of the most successful and beloved programs of the era. The role of Dr. Kiley completely changed Brolin's life, not only helping him restart his career, but also solidifying his acting talent. This role brought Brolin widespread recognition and marked his return to the spotlight after years of hardship. Marcus Welby, MD became a massive hit and helped solidify James Brolin's position in the entertainment industry. With the overwhelming success of the show, Brolin won an Emmy in 1970, a significant milestone in his acting career. He went on to receive 2 Golden Globe Awards, further cementing his talent and influence. The show was not only popular, but also addressed serious and sensitive medical issues, such as cancer, depression, and Alzheimer's disease, raising awareness and offering support to viewers. The topics covered in the program reflected the real challenges of society at the time. One of the standout episodes of the show tackled the issue of homosexuality, which sparked strong protests from some opposing groups. However, Brolin and the production team remained steadfast in their commitment to telling meaningful stories that had a positive impact on society. Despite facing considerable opposition, Brolin continued to pursue roles that could help create change and raise social awareness. During this time, he became a prominent figure in the entertainment industry, earning respect not only from his peers, but also from audiences worldwide. After the tremendous success of Marcus Welby, MD James Brolin continued to take on prominent roles, adding a variety of dimensions to his acting career. In 1972, he played a dark role in the film Skyjacked, portraying a Vietnam War veteran with a mental disorder who hijacks an airplane. This tense and dramatic film allowed Brolin to showcase his strong acting abilities, making his character both authentic and chilling. The movie not only delivered intense action scenes, but also delved deeply into the psychology of the character, keeping viewers captivated throughout. Next, in 1973, Brolin appeared in Westworld, where he played John Blaine, a confident visitor to an amusement park where robots resemble and act like humans. Brolin's performance added depth and contrast to the film, highlighting the stark differences between humans and robots in this fictional world. His ability to bring subtlety to the character drew viewers into the story, allowing them to feel the tension and conflict within the film. This role was a standout, reinforcing his versatility and talent in switching between different genres. In 1979, James Brolin ventured into the horror genre with the film Amityville Horror, a massive box office success. Playing George Lutz, Brolin excellently portrayed the fear of financial collapse and family pressure elements that added to the film's dramatic tension. The suspense and eerie situations in Amityville Horror brought Brolin closer to the audience, immersing them in the horrifying world and conflicts his character faced. The film gained attention not only for its supernatural story, but also because of Brolin's ability to bring a deeply human element to the tense supernatural setting. In 1985, James Brolin showcased a completely different side of himself when he made a guest appearance in the comedy Pee-wee's Big Adventure. He played a fictional version of Pee-wee as a suave secret agent, offering a witty nod to the James Bond-like roles he had played in the past. Brolin's comedic timing in this role breathed new life into his career, proving that he was not only successful in intense dramatic roles, but also capable of creating fun and entertaining moments on screen. In addition to his notable film roles, James Brolin made a lasting impact on television with his starring role in the series Hotel, which ran for 5 years. In this show, he played Peter McDermott, the suave manager of a luxurious hotel in San Francisco. Each episode introduced new guests, and Brolin was always at the center of rich, dramatic storylines. Not only did he drive the plot of each episode, but he also directed some of them, further showcasing his versatile talents. With this role, Brolin received 2 Golden Globe nominations, reflecting both the recognition and admiration from audiences and critics alike. During his time on Hotel, someone special entered Brolin's life, his future wife, Jan Smithers. She appeared on the show as a guest star, and from there, their relationship began to blossom. They shared many memorable moments both on and off screen, marking a new chapter full of love and shared career milestones. Jan Smithers was not only a life partner, but also an important part of Brolin's professional journey, providing him with support and joy during this significant period of his life. Barbra Streisand was born on April 24, 1942 in Brooklyn to a poor family. Her father, Emmanuel, was a respected teacher, while her mother, Diana, worked as a school secretary. The family's annual income was only $4,200, a small sum that was insufficient to support the family in their cramped apartment. When Barbra was just 15 months old, a tragic event occurred when her father passed away from a seizure. After his death, the family was left with only $250 in savings and could no longer afford to stay in their old home. This forced them to move in with her maternal grandparents, marking the beginning of a new, difficult chapter in their lives. Although Barbra never had the chance to meet her father, she later came across a note he had left in a baby book. In that note, he wrote, "I have a feeling this will be very special." Those words deeply resonated with Barbra, becoming an invaluable memory she cherished throughout her life. Despite the many hardships her family faced, her father's words instilled in Barbra a strong belief in her abilities and her future. They served not only as a reminder of her father, but also as a source of motivation to overcome every challenge life threw her way. In 1949, Barbra's mother remarried, and she gained a half-sister, but Barbra's life didn't become any easier. Her stepfather was cold, and even told her that he would break her spirit. The harshness within the family made Barbra feel lost and without any support. In 1958, at just 16 years old, Barbra decided to leave home. With nowhere to go and no money in hand, she began living a life of homelessness. For a year and a half, Barbra lived wherever she could, at friends' houses, on couches, old beds, and even fire escapes of buildings. Despite the hardships, Barbra did not drop out of school. She continued attending classes, studying at libraries and diners while working part-time at a wage of 75 cents per hour. Each week she earned just 17 hours, but managed to survive. To make ends meet, Barbra visited her mother twice a week, just enough to have dinner without admitting to anyone that she was homeless. She only had one suitcase taped together with duct tape, which contained 3 outfits, 2 pairs of shoes, and 12 records. Though her material life was scarce, she never gave up on her dreams and her desire to rise above her circumstances. Barbra wore the same coat for 3 years, repairing it herself and even dyeing it a different color with leftover clothing materials. Despite facing financial difficulties, she never gave up and always tried to maintain a beautiful appearance no matter how tough the circumstances were. By 1960, Barbra worked as a waitress at a theater, earning just over $46 a week. During her time working there, she watched the same play, The Sound of Music, over 100 times and memorized every scene. Before going to work, she would spend time practicing singing alone in the theater, dreaming that one day she would perform on a big stage. One night, while singing in the theater, a stage manager overheard her and thought she was a stunt performer. He approached her and asked who she was, and with confidence she boldly said she was auditioning, even though she didn't have an official schedule. He took her to meet 3 casting directors who happened to be nearby. Just 2 days later, Barbra got the opportunity to perform in a nightclub, earning $18 for the weekend, double her usual wage. However, because she violated the theater's rules, she was fired. But that didn't discourage her, as she knew that she had just truly stepped into the entertainment industry she had always dreamed of. Up until that point, Barbra had never received any formal voice lessons. She taught herself to sing by taking every opportunity she could, singing on staircases and in subway stations where she experimented with echoes and attracted small crowds. Despite the lack of structured guidance, Barbra developed her vocal skills through patience and passion. By the end of that year, she was living in a small, hot apartment with a friend named Barry Denon. Seeing the potential in Barbra's voice, Barry convinced her to record 3 songs. They used an old tape recorder from real estate, and Barbra had to stand perfectly still exactly 27 inches away from the microphone to get the best sound. When they played back the recording, Barry dropped his coffee cup in shock at the quality of Barbra's voice. He said that her singing was unlike anything he had ever heard. Realizing this was a pivotal moment, Barry sent the recording to 14 people in the music industry. Some were skeptical and doubted its authenticity, while one record executive even believed that the recording had been professionally produced and couldn't possibly belong to an untrained teenager. However, the truth could not be hidden, and that raw recording was later archived in the Library of Congress as a valuable part of musical history. In September 1960, when Barbra was just 18 years old, she took the stage at a nightclub wearing a $6 dress she had bought from a thrift store. Her earrings didn't match, and she was rejected from 7 auditions that month, often being told she looked too unusual. One producer even told her that she had a $1 million voice but only a 5-cent face. However, that night she performed "Cry Me a River," followed by a humorous cover of "Who's Afraid of the Big Bad Wolf?" The crowd fell silent, then applauded for nearly 5 minutes. For the first time, she received perfect scores from the judges, an unprecedented achievement at that venue. A harsh critic even wrote that her nose could become as iconic as her voice. Within 2 months, Barbra had 23 paid performances, proving that talent doesn't need to fit into the mold of conventional beauty. In 1962, Barbra joined a show called I Can Get It For You Wholesale, where she played the role of Miss Marlstein. Just before an important audition, Barbra developed a fever of 103 degrees, but she decided to go ahead and show up. By the time the audition took place, she had to fight to keep her big scene, as the directors felt it was too unusual and wanted to cut it. However, Barbra stood her ground and defended her performance strongly. On opening night, the audience loved her performance so much that they demanded she sing the scene 3 times. Despite being a supporting actress in the show, the reviews almost exclusively praised Barbra. One newspaper even described her as the funniest thing on Broadway since Fanny Brice, demonstrating how her unique talent had drawn significant attention from both the audience and critics. After her success with I Can Get It For You Wholesale, Barbra began to gain wider recognition. Initially, she earned just $175 a week, but her standout performance on stage helped her negotiate her contract multiple times. Her contract was renegotiated 5 times to reflect her success in the role of a supporting actress who left a lasting impression. Producers began to see Barbra's great potential and started offering her more significant opportunities. This show marked a turning point in Barbra's career, opening doors for her to advance further in the entertainment industry and solidify her status as a potential Broadway star. In 1963, Barbra released her first album with Columbia Records, marking a major turning point in her music career. Initially, the company only printed 10,000 copies as they didn't believe the album would be successful. Lacking a hit song and consisting of performance tunes and a single ballad, many didn't expect much from this album. However, the reality proved otherwise. Within just 1 month, the album sold 150,000 copies, leaving both the company and the music industry astonished. Barbra, unwilling to be bound by the industry's usual standards, demanded full control over her album, from song selection to rejecting a glossy cover in favor of a simple yet artistic black and white photo. This massive success led Barbra to win the Grammy Award for Album of the Year, a surprising victory in which she beat out music legend Frank Sinatra. The outrage among some voters was so intense that they decided to withdraw from the award. However, in her brief acceptance speech, Barbra couldn't hide her pride. "This isn't luck. This is what happens when you don't listen to people who don't understand your vision." This statement not only demonstrated her confidence, but also served as proof of her ability to overcome skepticism and affirm her career with talent and determination. A year later, Barbra took on the role of Fanny Brice in Funny Girl, a major turning point in her career. However, this choice was not supported by everyone. Fanny Brice's daughter disagreed, claiming that Barbra was too Brooklyn, too Jewish, and not beautiful enough to portray this iconic character. Investors also withdrew over $1 million upon hearing about Barbra's casting. But she did not let the criticism and doubt hold her back. In fact, Barbra delivered an outstanding performance, performing the role 867 times and only missing 2 shows, even while suffering from pneumonia. Her vision and resilience created an unforgettable performance. She sang special songs written specifically for her, showcasing her impressive 3.5-octave vocal range, something few singers can do. In one scene, a water pipe burst and drenched her, but Barbra kept singing without stopping. When the show moved to London, despite harsh reviews, tickets were being resold on the black market for as much as £150, a significant amount at the time. In 1965, Barbra continued to assert her power by signing a $5 million television contract with CBS for 10 special shows. At just 23 years old, Barbra had complete control over the contract, making it impossible for CBS to alter any part of the agreement. Her decisiveness and foresight not only helped her succeed on stage, but also solidified her strong position in the entertainment industry. If you're impressed by the fact that Barbra Streisand, at just 23 years old, signed a $5 million TV deal with CBS and maintained full control over every single clause, like this video to celebrate that incredible boldness. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel to keep discovering more inspiring stories from true Hollywood legends. Without her approval, they couldn't interrupt her songs with commercials. Her first special, My Name is Barbra, broke all the rules. She started the show by singing alone in the dark. The executives were terrified, but 71% of the viewers that night changed the channel. Barbra went on to win 5 Emmy Awards and even edited the entire show herself. The director later admitted that he had simply followed her instructions. In 1968, Barbra Streisand stepped off the Broadway stage and began her film career in a truly remarkable way. She took on the role of Fanny Brice in the film Funny Girl, a performance that not only showcased her talent on stage, but also led to her success on the big screen. The film quickly became a massive hit, becoming the highest-grossing movie of the year in the United States. Barbra's outstanding performance as Fanny Brice earned her the Academy Award for Best Actress, marking a pivotal moment in her career. The film was further sensationalized when Barbra reconciled with Katharine Hepburn, the only other actress to win the Oscar in this category that year, making it a truly unforgettable milestone in film history. Funny Girl not only brought Barbra a personal award, but also garnered 8 Oscar nominations, solidifying her position as not just a stage star, but also a major film star. The movie became a classic and was later preserved by the Library of Congress as a national treasure. However, Barbra didn't limit herself to the musical genre. The subsequent steps in her career would prove her versatility and long-lasting career in the entertainment industry. In 1972, Barbra Streisand took a bold leap with What's Up, Doc?, a chaotic screwball comedy starring alongside Ryan O'Neal. At first, she openly disliked the script, even going so far as to tell reporters that she believed the film would be a failure. Her reaction wasn't surprising. The initial script didn't resonate with her, and the tone felt off. However, as production moved forward, major behind-the-scenes changes were made. The writers revised Barbra's character to make her funnier, quirkier, and more in tune with the film's eccentric energy. In contrast, O'Neal's character was rewritten to be the straight man, the serious counterbalance to Barbra's comedic presence. This dynamic ultimately became the heart of the film's charm and helped reshape the project into something far more appealing than its original form. To everyone's surprise, perhaps most of all Barbra's, the film became a runaway success. What's Up, Doc? Ended up being the third highest-grossing film of 1972. Barbra earned $500,000 for her role, a significant amount at the time, and notably more than her co-star. Critics were quick to praise her performance, particularly highlighting her sharp comedic instincts and timing. The movie went on to achieve classic status and is now considered one of the greatest American comedies. What began as a film she had little faith in became a defining moment in her career, further proving her versatility as an actress and her ability to turn doubt into triumph. The following year, Barbra starred in The Way We Were, opposite Robert Redford. The film tells the love story between an outspoken Jewish activist and a charming writer set against the politically tense backdrop of America. Despite a modest production budget of just $5 million, The Way We Were became a massive success, grossing over $50 million at the box office. The film not only performed well commercially, but also earned Barbra an Oscar nomination for her performance. Additionally, it won a prestigious Italian Film Award, further cementing Barbra's acting abilities and on-screen charisma. The theme song performed by Barbra in The Way We Were became the biggest hit of 1974, selling over 2 million copies and dominating the music charts. This success not only made the song a musical icon, but also earned it a place in the Grammy Hall of Fame for decades to come. This milestone marked an important moment in Barbra's career, showcasing her talents not only in acting, but also in music, and serving as a testament to her enduring influence in the entertainment industry. In 1972, Barbra Streisand made a pivotal move in her career by founding her own production company, Barwood Films, a bold decision that reflected her desire for greater creative freedom and control. The company's first project was Up the Sandbox, a daring and unconventional film about a bored housewife who escapes the monotony of her everyday life by retreating into an imaginative fantasy world. Although Up the Sandbox wasn't a major box office success, it received critical acclaim, particularly for its bold approach to feminism. The film wasn't just a personal journey of self-discovery for its lead character, it was also a powerful artistic statement from Barbra herself, proving that women can define their own roles not only in society but also within the film industry. Critics highly praised Barbra's presence on screen, comparing her to legends like Greta Garbo. Renowned critic Roger Ebert remarked that Barbra portrayed a character who was unconcerned with others' opinions, a rare archetype in films of that era. Her portrayal of a strong and independent character left a lasting impact on the film industry and helped change the way women were portrayed on screen. In 1976, Barbra continued to conquer her film career with A Star is Born. Not only did she play the lead role, but she also produced the love song Evergreen for the film, which became one of the greatest successes of her career. Evergreen quickly became a massive hit, earning numerous prestigious awards. Barbra was not only the performer of the song, but also co-wrote it, making history as the first woman to win an Oscar for songwriting. The song also won a Grammy and a Golden Globe, marking a significant milestone in her career. Barbra's performance in the film earned her another Golden Globe, and Evergreen went on to be regarded as one of the best songs in her musical repertoire. The combination of Barbra's acting and musical talent in A Star is Born created an unforgettable legacy in the entertainment industry, showcasing her creative strength and versatility. The success of Yentl in 1983 was no easy feat. It was the result of Barbra's relentless struggle for creative control. After 15 years of hard work, she overcame 12 film studios that rejected her project before finally securing a $14.5 million budget from a studio. Barbra worked tirelessly, spending 20 hours a day perfecting the film. She was not only the director, but also portrayed multiple characters herself, managing a crew of 168 people, mostly men. Despite widespread skepticism and even bets on her failure, Barbra proved everyone wrong. Yentl was not only an artistic success, but also grossed over $40 million, an impressive figure. The film was not just a financial triumph, it was also a testament to Barbra's strength and determination in breaking through the barriers that society and the film industry had placed on women. However, Barbra Streisand's career was not always smooth sailing. At the time, some people were still not ready to accept a successful female director. One voter publicly admitted that he refused to vote for Barbra simply because she was a woman. In the 1980s, the percentage of female directors in major studios was incredibly low, at only about 0.5%. While Yentl received positive reviews in 1984, the Golden Globes still refused to nominate Barbra in the Best Director category. Instead, they created a special award just for female directors in the musical or comedy genre. However, this award only existed for 1 year before disappearing. Not remaining silent in the face of injustice, Barbra politely questioned during the ceremony why she was not included in the main director category along with the others. Her response turned her case into a hot topic, and later, the U.S. Congress used it as evidence of gender bias in Hollywood. This marked a turning point in raising awareness about gender inequality in the film industry, and Barbra Streisand continued to fight not just for herself, but for future female directors. Years went by, yet Barbra Streisand continued to make steady strides in her career. In 1991, she returned to the director's chair with the film The Prince of Tides. To perfect the screenplay, Barbra went through 26 drafts and spent 3 years shaping it to match her vision. The filming took place in South Carolina, an area heavily impacted by a storm, and Barbra made the compassionate decision to hire dozens of local residents who had lost their homes to the disaster to work on the production. This act not only demonstrated her dedication to the project, but also revealed her compassion and deep understanding of the community. The Prince of Tides grossed $63 million, an unexpected triumph, and earned 7 Oscar nominations. This was a clear testament to Barbra's talent and perseverance, not only as an actress but also as a gifted director. Her return with The Prince of Tides reaffirmed that Barbra Streisand remains one of the most influential figures in the film industry, with a career that continues to flourish through every chapter. The Directors Guild of America finally honored Barbra Streisand by nominating her, making her the first woman ever nominated in the Guild's 44-year history. However, the Academy Awards did not follow suit, failing to nominate her for Best Director. Public outrage grew as it became known that 94% of the Oscar voters for Best Director were men. In 1995, Barbra made history once again when she directed her own HBO concert special and won the Directors Guild Award for television direction, becoming the first woman ever to win in that category. The production was a massive undertaking involving 11 cameras, a 125-person crew, and 223 camera setups. Remarkably, she accomplished all of this while battling severe stage fright stemming from a 1967 concert where she forgot the lyrics mid-performance, an experience that kept her off the stage for 27 years. The special drew 26 million viewers and generated $93 million in revenue. During the awards ceremony, Barbra pointed out that only 7% of directing jobs in television were held by women, and that her win came 25 years after she first challenged the DGA over this very issue. Barbra's private life was often marked by pain and hardship. In 1963, she married actor Elliott Gould, and 3 years later, in 1966, they welcomed their first son, Jason. Upon discovering she was pregnant, Barbra made the bold decision to cancel a $1 million tour, an act that reflected her deep maternal devotion. She loved being a mother and often brought Jason along during work to stay close to him. However, their family happiness did not last as long as hoped, and their marriage quietly began to unravel. Elliott Gould fell into a destructive spiral of gambling and drug abuse, which made Barbra's life increasingly difficult. He even sold household belongings to fund his harmful habits. Barbra grew deeply concerned about the negative environment surrounding Jason. The conflicts and pressures in their life together became irreparable, leading them to separate in 1969 and officially divorce in 1971. This period left Barbra with many emotional scars, though her love for her son remained a strong foundation that helped her move forward with resilience. James Brolin and Barbra Streisand met on a blind date on July 1, 1996. The meeting almost didn't happen because both were in their mid-50s and had been through unsuccessful relationships. Streisand had been divorced since 1971, while Brolin had just ended his second relationship, having been married and burdened with $1.44 million in debt. Their mutual friend, Linda Bruckheimer, arranged the date after 2 previous cancellations. Before meeting Barbra, Brolin was actually supposed to meet another woman that night, but he changed his mind at the last minute. Feeling stressed, he took a Valium and was expecting to meet a rough-looking man with a beard. Instead, he found Barbra clean-shaven for a different role. This surprising contrast marked the beginning of their conversation. They talked for 6 hours and soon discovered that they had been born only 3.4 miles apart in Los Angeles. Within the first 30 seconds, Streisand asked him, "Who messed up your hair?" Although she didn't mean any harm, the comment struck Brolin strongly. His ex-wife hadn't commented on his appearance in 11 years, and this unexpected remark made such an impression on him that he almost left. However, something in Barbra's eyes made him stay, and their conversation continued deep into the night, finally ending at 3:27 a.m. 7. James Brolin tried to propose to Barbra 3 times. The first time was 87 days after they met during a hot air balloon ride over Napa Valley. He gave her a 9-carat diamond ring worth $250,000, but she said no. Barbra had a 2-year rule after a bad experience with a previous fiancé. The second proposal came on New Year's Eve in 1997 in New York. He played her favorite childhood song and got down on one knee in front of 14 friends, but she declined again. The third proposal was successful on March 15, 1998, during a picnic at her Malibu home. This time, he gave her a 24-page letter listing 98 reasons why they belonged together. What he didn't know then, and she only revealed years later in her memoir, was that she had secretly been engaged to another man when they first met. They got married exactly 2 years after their first date on July 1, 1998. Their wedding cost $1.4 million and was held at Streisand's private home in Malibu. Security was tight, with 37 bodyguards, a no-fly zone, and a confidentiality agreement carrying a $250,000 penalty. The ceremony began at 8:47 p.m., the exact time they had met for the first time. There were 15,000 white roses and orchids flown in from 4 countries. Guests included Tom Hanks, Oprah Winfrey, the Clintons, and Marlon Brando. Streisand wore a gown with a 27-foot-long train, while Brolin wore an Armani suit with diamond cufflinks. She wrote a song for the ceremony titled "I Finally Found You," performed by a children's choir funded by her foundation. The reception featured Brolin's speech at 11:43 p.m., consisting of 273 words. In his speech, he said, "Every night is a new adventure. Sleeping is a waste of time. I can't wait to see her again in the morning." He had battled insomnia for 27 years, and Barbra became his cure. Before officially getting married, they spent 642 nights together, a long period filled with intimacy, understanding, and gentle yet profound moments. They read poetry together in bed-solved crossword puzzles as a way to sharpen their minds and bond spiritually, and shared private memories they had never told anyone before. On their special wedding night, Brolin created a touching moment by playing a piano piece called Barbra's Lullaby, a song he had secretly learned long ago, and deliberately misspelled her name as an inside joke between them. John Travolta. A close friend later revealed that Brolin had kept a daily journal of their time together and planned to give it to Barbra on their 25th wedding anniversary, a milestone they happily reached in 2023. After marrying, they chose a unique financial arrangement to protect their love from material troubles, a decision stemming from Brolin's personal experience, having lost $3 million in his second divorce. They maintained separate bank accounts and referred to this as branching out, a form of financial independence within marriage. In fact, every Tuesday, they split their dinner bills as a principle to keep everything fair and transparent. Although Barbra's estimated net worth is around $400 million and Brolin's is $60 million, they only share one joint account worth $800,000 used solely for their jointly owned home. In a 2023 interview, Brolin said that this clear-cut arrangement helped them avoid money arguments, a common reason many Hollywood marriages fall apart, and preserve the precious peace in their married life. During the COVID-19 lockdown, their relationship was not negatively affected. Instead, it grew closer than ever before. While many couples faced stress conflicts and even breakups due to isolation and the pressures of life during the pandemic, they found deeper harmony and understanding with each other. Rather than growing apart, they fell in love all over again, a love renewed through simple moments and the constant presence of one another during each day of quarantine. They spent 425 consecutive nights under the same roof, sharing every moment from dawn till late at night. Each morning they woke up at 6:45, a steady routine reflecting their shared rhythm and discipline in their lifestyle. This special period not only strengthened their bond but also built a firmer foundation for their relationship, proving that love can overcome even the toughest challenges when nurtured together. Throughout the lockdown, James Brolin and Barbra Streisand maintained unique habits that helped sustain their relationship and creativity. They solved 37 puzzles each, representing a year they could get married. The couple also spent time watching series like The Crown and Bridgerton, twice even reenacting scenes in costume. Another notable activity was writing a 278-page journal, which Brolin hinted might one day become their memoir. Their $35,000 Swedish mattress became their meeting room, where they made major career decisions. Their bedroom was soundproofed at a cost of $175,000, and Brolin mentioned that many of their best ideas came from that quiet space. When conflicts arose, they followed a strict walking routine, walking in opposite directions around their 2-acre estate. They walked for 17 minutes, then returned and journaled their feelings after each walk. Beyond her personal life, Barbra Streisand has been deeply involved in work and passion for cardiovascular health, especially women's heart health. She launched the Fight the Lady Killer campaign in 2014, recognizing that heart disease kills more women than all cancers combined. She helped fund a cardiovascular center at Cedars-Sinai and promoted awareness of heart disease. Barbra also delivered a key lecture at the National Institutes of Health in 2018, sharing the challenges women face in treating heart disease. Her campaign helped reduce the mortality rate from 1 in 3 women to 1 in 4. Barbra spent a full decade writing her monumental memoir, My Name is Barbra, officially released in 2023, totaling 970 pages. This was not only a recounting of her life, but also a decades-long inner journey. Remarkably, she wrote the entire book by hand, a testament to her dedication and sincerity in every word. Barbra began conceiving the idea for the memoir in the 1990s, but took many years to be ready to delve into her most private memories. During the writing process, she received special advice from Jacqueline Kennedy, who encouraged her to write down her life stories as a way to preserve an irreplaceable spiritual and personal legacy. When the book was released, critics unanimously praised Barbra's sharp writing style and uncompromising honesty. Her words did more than simply recount life events. They reflected a soul both experienced, sensitive, and strong. Brolin, her husband, lightened the mood with a witty remark, joking that perhaps most of the book was written on their luxurious mattress in the bedroom. This comment was not only humorous, but also evoked the image of a very down-to-earth Barbra, someone relatable who is both a cultural icon and a woman wholeheartedly devoted to telling her tumultuous journey as truthfully as possible. In 2025, at age 83, James Brolin continues to demonstrate an indefatigable work ethic and an endless passion for the arts. Rather than retiring like many of his peers, he remains active in major projects including filming Ransom Canyon and serving as the narrator for the final season of the series Sweet Tooth. Despite his age, Brolin retains the sharpness and energy admired by colleagues and fans alike. He shared that the project he was most excited about was Ransom Canyon, as it gave him the opportunity to return to the Western genre, a style that has been part of his career since the beginning. In Ransom Canyon, Brolin played Cap Fuller, a tough and deeply complex rancher. Unfortunately, his character died in episode 9, which left him with regrets and wishing he could have been part of the series longer. Brolin also spoke about his long-lasting, strong bond with horses, a crucial element of his acting career, especially in Western films. Although he admits directing remains his greatest passion, he said acting is what keeps him feeling vibrant. For Brolin, continuing to work is not just a career choice, but a way to maintain youthful spirit and connect with audiences through every role. And that wraps up James Brolin's emotional journey in Ransom Canyon with his role as Cap Fuller, a tough but deeply thoughtful rancher who left a lasting impression even though he only appeared until episode 9. While he expressed regret about not being able to stay with the series longer, Brolin continues to inspire with his unwavering passion for acting, something that keeps the fire of youth alive in his heart. What about you? What did you think of Cap Fuller's character? Don't forget to comment 1 if you felt a connection with James Brolin, or 0 if you have a different opinion. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Click on the next video appearing on your screen for more amazing stories. See you in the next one.